friends, we're back and we're reading from our book, Sideway Stories from Wayside School. We are on the chapter titled The Three Erics. Now we know we can predict what the main idea is going to be based on the title of the chapter. So let's see if we can zoom in a little bit more and focus more on our picture here. So we can see that there are three friends here. We're not sure what else could happen. See if you can find any details in this picture. All right, so let's go ahead and begin reading. Okay, in Mrs. Jules' class, there were three children named Eric, Eric Fry, Eric Bacon, and Eric Ovens. They were known throughout the school for being fat. Eric Fry sat at this end of the room. Eric Bacon sat in the middle of the room, and Eric Ovens sat at the end of the room. There was a joke around Wayside School that if all three Erics were ever at the same end of the room at the same time, the whole school would tip over. Eric Bacon hated jokes like that. That's not surprising. After all, he wasn't even fat. So we're going to put a pause on it. Looking back at our picture here, which one do you think Eric Bacon is? Well, if you guessed this one, you were probably correct. He doesn't look as quite plump as the rest of the friends in that picture. Okay, so now let's go ahead and continue reading. We left off right here. But I'm not fat, Eric Bacon insisted. What's your name? Asked Jason. Eric, said Eric Bacon. Then you're fat, Jason concluded. And pretty soon, skinny little Eric Bacon, the skinniest kid in Mrs. Jules' class, had the nickname Fatso. Now we're going to put a pause on it. Remember, this is a story that is made up. It is fiction, and it's not real. So even though in the story, this is a name they're calling another friend, we don't call other friends names that could hurt someone else's feelings. So again, this is just for entertainment, and we're looking for the details that go along with the main idea. So let's keep reading. Eric Fry really was fat. He was also the best athlete in Mrs. Jules' class. His body was solid muscle. However, nobody ever noticed. The other two Erics weren't very good at sports. Eric Ovens was clumsy. Eric Fatso Bacon was a good athlete for his size, but because he was so skinny, he didn't have much power. So naturally, everybody just assumed that Eric Fry was also clumsy and weak. After all, his name was Eric. Whenever the other kids chose up teams, Eric Fry was the last one picked. They never noticed his home runs or the fabulous catches he made. Like all great athletes, he made the impossible look easy. Of course, the other kids did notice the one time that he dropped the ball. Eric Fry was playing right field. Terrence belted a deep fly to left. Fry raced all the way across the field after the ball and at the last second dived at it. He caught it in midair in his fingertips. But as he hit the ground, the ball squirted loose. Well, what do you expect from Butterfingers? Said Stephen. And since that time, Eric Fry has had the nickname Butterfingers. Eric Ovens was the nicest person in Mrs. Jules' class. He treated everyone equally and always had a kind word to say. But because his name was Eric, everyone thought he was mean. Fatso was mean because everyone called him Fatso. Butterfingers was mean because he always had to play right field. So naturally, everyone just assumed that Eric Ovens was also mean. They called him Crabapple. Good morning, Allison, said Eric Ovens. How are you? Lay off, Crabapple, will ya? Answered Allison. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. All three of the Erics had nicknames. It was better that way. Otherwise, when someone said, Hey, Eric, no one knew to whom he was talking. One time, all the Erics would answer, and the next time, none of them would answer. But when someone said, Hey, Crabapple, then Eric Ovens knew they were talking to him. And if someone said, Hey, Butterfinger, Eric Fry knew They meant him. And when someone said, "Hey, Fatso," Eric Bacon knew he was being called. Okay, friends, so again, these names are not nice, and it even says in the story that they're mean. Please do not call anyone that you know, whether it's family or friends, names, because that's not nice and it does hurt people's feelings. Again, this story in context is just for entertainment. So, going back to the main idea, we know that this story, the main idea is that the three Erics, okay, that they all were called certain names, right? So now let's go back and see if you can remember what those details of the story is. All right, so who is the Eric that's always called Crabapple and why? All right, if you said Eric Evans, you were correct. What about Butterfingers? Which one was Eric who was called Butterfingers? If you said Eric Fry, you were correct. And then the last one, Fatso. Which one had the nickname for Fatso? If you said Eric Bacon, you were correct. Now, was Eric Bacon actually fat? No, he wasn't. All right, so here's a couple questions to think about before we wrap this up. All right, first question, why does Eric Bacon get annoyed? Next question or detail you can use from the story. Why does everyone think Eric Evans is mean? Okay, and the last question is very important. Why is Ron, Eric Bacon, Eric Evans, and Eric Fry all mistreated by their classmates? Why are they mistreated? How could such negative behavior affect a student in real life? And the last question, how can you prevent bullying, whether that's at home, in our virtual classroom, or in real life, or in a classroom? Think about it. How can you prevent bullying? Calling names certainly would not help. All right, that is it for today's Read Aloud. I hope you enjoyed it.